Are you tired of life? Are you not feeling so fresh? You need Dragon Quest III, the HD 2D remake, and it has become Japan's best-selling game of the year, and we're talking about here on A Cow's Opinion. Catchphrase, we don't have one, we don't need one, but welcome back, I am the Cow, and you are here to talk about the latest, greatest, sometimes terrible, but not today news coming from the world of video games, because here, Chris Scullion, a favorite on this channel over at Video Games Chronicle, has the numbers of the beautiful remake from Dragon Quest II, and it has sold 826,000 copies only in Japan, and if you think that number doesn't sound great, we're going to deep dive into them right now. Now, according to Famitsu, if you don't know what Famitsu is, it is the most popular Japanese gaming mag and website. It is notorious for, unlike your American websites like IGN and Polygon and stuff, it gives highly accurate scores. If you 4 different people score the game, and if you can get that coveted 40 points out of 40 points, you know it's a good buy. But Square Enix's latest release took not just the number 1 spot, but the number 2 on both Switch and PlayStation 5 by a massive distance, and sold more than 10 times as much as the rest of the top 10 combined for its first week of release. And I just want to give a round of applause. Guys, we're playing on the channel. We've got a vocational quick guide for you on the channel if you want to see it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. You can let me know in the comments if you are, but I'm sure you are, because it's a fantastic game. The Switch alone sold 641,195 copies. That is huge for a physical release in Japan. And the PS5 version sold another 185,750. And if you're wondering, the game has no graphical differences on the two systems. So yeah, you go buy it on the Switch if you're buying physical, so you can take it on the go. There's no reason to worry about that. The game is also reportedly selling out across Japan, and which means that if they've been able to replenish it fast enough, it's going to have the million mark just by next week. Now, Japanese news Genki posted on Twitter that the figures mean in that 1 week, the HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III has instantly become the number 1 best-selling game in Japan for the whole of 2024. That's right, this cool little remake of an old classic game is the most popular selling game in Japan. Nothing else is going to be releasing in the next 6 weeks that's going to come close to it. This is your king. Bow down. It was also the first biggest launch week in Japan since Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and Square Enix's biggest first week launch since 7 years ago. So good on them. To compare, by the end of the first 6 months of this year, the best-selling physical game was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which only sold 339,168 units, less than half. Now, I think we've talked about some of the problems that Final Fantasy has been having, and we'll get into it in a second. But just to let you know, here are the charts. Luigi's Mansion 3 crosses 1 million this last week. Romancing Saga 2 is going to hit 100,000. It's another remake of a good game. I'd love to play it on the channel. I just don't think we're going to have time to fit it in. Switch Minecraft is, well, you know, it's Switch Minecraft. It's going to sell, and it's going to be huge. Mario Kart 8 gets well over 6 million, but only 5,600. Animal Crossing, almost 8 million. Beyblade X, the X Zone, or X1, is a new entry and only sold 9,500. Mario and Luigi Brothership, another recent game, sold 15,000, brought it up to 78. And Mario Party Jamboree sold 32,000, bringing it up to 442,000. But here we are. PS5, 185K. Switch, 641K. That is what Daddy is talking about. So, what's the cow's opinion? I hope that freaking Square Enix is listening. As you know, Square Enix has recently said, and by the way, here's further read that I don't want to get into. They're saying that Final Fantasy VI was used as a reference when creating the style, and the producer wants to remake Final Fantasy VI the same way. I would love a remake of 6. It would take forever to play, but God, it would be so good. But moving back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which we were told sold disappointing. And look, part of it may be because a lot of RPG players were not super happy about the switch in the battle system. It is telling a new story in the Final Fantasy VII universe. But, you know, some people might not want to play it. Square Enix recently has been kind of amazed at how well things like Dragon Quest and Romancing Saga 2 is selling right on schedule, I believe I've read. Mario Luigi, not a Square Enix game, but also selling pretty popular. But people have been saying that, 7 Rebirth sold underwhelmingly. They were thinking that was going to be better. And 16 as well, they thought sold underwhelmingly. But that's because the RPG crowd wants RPG. It's okay to have action RPGs. But a few years ago, one of the main honchos at Square Enix said that we're trying to take a lot of lessons from Call of Duty and make our games more like Call of Duty. The problem with that, in the cow's opinion, and this is my show, I can have this opinion, is that basically when I want to play Call of Duty, I'm going to pick up Call of Duty. But when I want to play an RPG, I'm going to pick up an RPG. Now, you can take lessons and cinematography and stuff. You can make the game better. But I don't want my RPGs to suddenly be Call of Duty. But that's what Square Enix has been leaning into. And their last 2 Final Fantasy games, 7 Rebirth and 16, did not sell as well as they thought that they would. And it's not because we need those the games are gorgeous, don't get me wrong. But you don't need that to sell huge numbers. And it's proven with Dragon Quest 3. Now, somebody in the comments, I'm going to cut you out now. You already posted it. But let me explain. Well, Cal, that's maybe 1 million copies in 2 weeks. That's good. That's wonderful. But it's not huge. No. It looks like it has a chance to sell 1 million copies in 2 weeks physically in Japan. That's not counting their digital sales, which are also extremely massive. That's not counting the rest of their sales in Southeast Asia. That's not counting any of their European sales. And that is certainly not counting any of their American sales. And the Southeast Asia, American, and European doesn't count their physical or their digital. This game is selling really, really, really well. And because this is what we want when we think Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy and Saga and other RPGs from Square Enix. This is cool. Give me awesome party builders. Give me more than 4 damn characters. You gave me a great class system. You can't let me have a 5th character. I would have loved it if they had a mode. I know it would have made the game easier, but I would have done it. It's like, hey, you can take 4 characters instead of 5. And especially because they keep adding classes, but they don't make the party size better. You haven't been able to have more than 4 people in Dragon Quest since freaking 3, actually, the original. And I understand the formula works, but I love dungeon crawlers. A lot of people love dungeon crawlers in RPGs, and this is what we want. And so I'm happy that Square Enix worked really hard and made this successful game. And I know that the people in Square Enix would still say, yeah, we're working really hard on Call of Duty stuff. We're working really hard on the blockchain. We're working really hard. But they are starting to pay attention and listen that when they do that other stuff, they're not meeting the expectations they expect for the money and time they put in. But when they do stuff like Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, they are knocking it out of the park way, way better. And so I'm hoping that this is just going to let them know that it's okay to experiment, to do new things. But yeah, give the players the kind of RPGs and dungeon crawlers that they want. And so let me know in the comments what you think. Are you happy with this? Do you think Square Enix is leaning maybe just a little too hard into trying to be Western? Because look, I love playing Western games. I play lots of them. But when I want a good JRPG or just an RPG that's a dungeon crawler, I'm usually going to Japanese companies, not American ones. The American ones can only make action systems. And I like action systems, but a good strategic turn-based one that lets you just turn off your brain and play is fan-freaking-tastic. Mwah, chef's kiss. Let me know in the comments below what you think, guys, because this is our channel. We recently crossed 500 subs. Thank you so much. And you know what else you can do? You know what else you can always do? Oh, baby, you can play more games. Games are awesome. Dragon Quest 3 is fantastically awesome. It's the option for awesome. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. And we're getting 1 and 2 next year, baby. And you deserve all that awesome, and I'll see you next time. This scene was fantastic. You haven't seen it on the channel yet, but, it was really, really cool.